Hey everyone, welcome back to iHeart Sports. We are 20 days away from the MLB season kicking off, and I just want to go back to what we were talking about in the last episode. Blue Jays, we still weren't sure if they were even going to be able to come back to Canada for training, but that has been resolved. Toronto, earlier this week, has got their players up in Dunedin, grouped them all together, and we're flying them back to Canada for spring training. However, it's still unclear whether the Blue Jays are going to be able to play their home games in the Toronto Stadium. The approval from the government was strictly for the spring training and that, and honestly, I'm a little concerned that the games will be able to be played there. Canada has been a little more strict when it comes to the COVID guidelines and letting these things open up, so I wouldn't be surprised if Toronto is kind of working on a backup plan should they not be allowed to play in Toronto this year. My number one guess would be they would just try to go down south to Buffalo. That's where their AAA team plays. That's where it's close by and it's close for the inner divisions, New York State, close to the Mets, Yankees, and all those other teams that they'll be playing this year. The MLB has released its first data for the COVID tests that it administrated when the season started beginning again. Here are some of the numbers. Let's read this out. So the MLB hired an independent Utah laboratory to do these results. This was the first week of the intake testing. So total number of positive tests was 38, which was only 1.2% of the 3,100 samples that they collected. 31 of the 38 were players and 7 were staff members. This affected 19 different clubs. It wouldn't be sports if we slowly didn't get to hear some of the names that actually tested positive. The Atlanta Braves came out and said 4 of their players had tested positive. They had gotten exception from the players to release their names. Big name, Freddie Freeman, he is one of them, so that's going to take a huge hit to the Atlanta Braves. We're not sure, again, how long this is going to take for them to deal with, and could be months from some of the news that we hear out there these days. Another somewhat big name that came out was from the Twins, Miguel Sano, also being released that he had been testing positive. I'm sure this isn't going to be the last we hear of all of this, but I just thought it's important to note some of the players that more often than not are going to have an impact on these clubs. So they could be out. They could be out for the season. They could be out for weeks. It's going to be interesting how that happens. First player to come back, but only time will tell with these cases. In other injury news, not related to COVID, there was a freak incident in the New York Yankees batting practice the other day. Tanaka was on the mound pitching to Stanton, who launched one right back at his own player and hit him square in the head. He went down immediately into the dirt and then later slowly walked off the field. It has been released, though, that he is conscious, he is alert, he is showing signs that he is going to be okay, but that is going to be at least some time off for Tanaka. I'm not sure if it'll impact him starting in 20 days from now. It very well could, but I'm sure we're still going to see Tanaka this year, especially tearing up the East. More players have come out saying that they are not going to be partaking in this season. Most notably, recently, David Price has come out and said, sorry, Dodgers fans, I'm not going to be there on the field this year, but I do look forward to coming back next year. As David gets older, maybe he's just going to use this shortened season as an excuse to get back up to health, be able to be at his top performance for the next couple of years when he finally does get back at a little rest, relaxation for one last push in his career. Although he could just be dealing with the COVID like some other people and being like, it's too much of a risk for me. I'm just going to sit this one out. I don't need to play. I'm not going to risk the situation. Most notably, Mike Trout has been said to be considering taking the year off. He hasn't come out and said just quite yet that he was going to, but speculation is starting to really get its momentum that Mike Trout might miss the entire baseball season. It makes sense that he would do what Desmond did, do what Zimmerman did, and take the season off. He has a pregnant wife at home, and that has always played a role in some of these players' decisions. So if the star from baseball is taking the season off, will it affect everyone else? Like, it's only a matter of time, and it's only going to keep coming, and I'm just going to keep keeping us up to date as I document this whole situation. But as for now, Mike Trout is attending his training, and I saw from reporters that he was crushing batting practice, hitting 3 dongs back to back to back. So hopefully his love for the game, and we'll get to see some Mike Trout this season. I know I love watching him play. The last thing I really want to touch on is something that's going around really on all sports, but it impacts one particular team in this league the most, the Cleveland Indians. Recently, teams again, with all the protesting and all that going on in America, teams again are beginning to be under scrutiny for their team names. In baseball, it's the Cleveland Indians. They released a statement about that. In the Cleveland Indians statement, they talked about how they wanted to remain to be a positive impact in the community. They wanted to embrace the responsibility to advance social justice and equality. Their organization fully recognized that their team name kind of makes them different than every other team when it gets kicked off to the COVID starting up again. They're having ongoing discussions in the organization on the recent social unrest in the community and across the country. With that in mind, though, they wanted to let us know that they are committed to engaging their community and appropriate stakeholders to determine the best path forward with regard to the team name. So it looks like they're not going to make... In other sports, the Washington Redskins, the Kansas City Chiefs, even the Chicago Blackhawks are all having the same discussion. Sure, I think it's time that some of these names need to change. However, there is a lot of deep history with these names as well. If the community in the area and the fans that cheer for it, as a blanket, think it's okay to move along with the history and the name, knowing that it's not an ill intent, the name, then I think it's okay to keep the names the way they are as well. Hey, and if you made it this far into the video, please drop a like, drop a subscribe. I would love to see you guys along for the ride in the 2020 season. Going to keep coming out with videos, kind of documenting the season. Going to try and do some power rankings and other fun videos along the way. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, trying to keep these videos short, at least the news ones that are going to be coming out. Again, 20 days, and then we're going to be watching some ball. So look forward to seeing you guys then. Take care.